From a very early age, I was nurtured never to have the word can't in my vocabulary. I would get it from my schooling, I would get it from my parents. And so it was part of me that never to think about can't, but try. Look to your potential and not your limitation. And in those early weeks and months after I was born, it was hard for my mum because my mum had a nervous breakdown. It was a big shock to her, and that time she didn't have any answers because nobody told her why I had no arms. But I'm so thankful that my mum, she accepted me. And that bonding took place in those early weeks and months. And yet, if any neighbours came around to the house, if I was outside when my mum was feeding the animals, her first instinct was to pick me up, take me into the house before anybody would see me. And yet, there was one day one of the neighbours came around to the house, a lady called Lily Bell. And she saw me and she saw my mum. And when she saw me first, she said to my mum, "Isabel, is that Brian?" And in those days I used to have lots of curly blonde hair. And she said to my mum, "Isn't Brian cute? Isn't he lovely?" And for my mum to hear those words, see, my mum thought that Lily Bell and all the neighbours around the community would come round and have awkward and difficult questions. And yet, my mum was given some good advice in those early months of my life. She was told the bestest thing you can do for your Brian is not to do everything for him. Brian is going to have to learn to do things with these here, his toes. I say to people, the only time these are my feet are when I walk. The rest of the time, these are my hands. You learn to adapt. It might take me a wee bit longer to do things or whatever, but hey, I get there in the end. As a 17-year-old, I wanted to drive a car. I had this specially adapted car. I don't even touch the steering wheel. I have a wee plate, like a dish on the floor, and as I turn that plate around, the steering wheel goes around. And there was snow on the ground. And my instructor said, "Brian, if you can get out and drive with confidence in these conditions, you'll be able to drive in anything." And I had 12 lessons. And I passed first time. I was determined. I wanted to get on the road and show people that even though I had no arms, with my toes, I could drive the car. Back in 1993, at that time I was working in a wee church in the Isle of Man. And one night, one of the ladies in the church said, "Brian, you must watch this program about Brazil." I saw children born with no arms and legs just like me. And as the more I watched that program, I was gripped. And the reporter said that the mothers took the drug thalidomide because they suffered with leprosy. And I said, "Lord, how could I help those children in Brazil?" And the Lord put it in my heart and said, "Brian, I want you to write a book about your life story. And I want all the proceeds and the royalties from your book to go to help those children in Brazil." And we work in partnership with the Brazilian Thalidomide Society there in São Paulo. My wife and I, we have been out to Brazil 6 times. And we've been able to support 146 families with children and young people with disabilities. We're all special. And although I have a disability, we shouldn't be valued because of how productive we can be, what we can do, but we should be valued for just being who we are. For my mother, way back in 1961, I'm so thankful that the Abortion Act hadn't been in during that time. Otherwise, I wouldn't be sitting here today, being able to testify and to share of all the good things that I've been able to do in my life. If the doctor had come to my mother and said, "Mrs. Gault, there's a potential that your child will have maybe no limbs," what would my mum have done? I'm sure there'd been a lot of pressure on her to have aborted. And I am so thankful that my mum wasn't put under that pressure.